This is future Too Bright Eric Taylor.
And I am the blonde blur Mikey Montgomery. We are the bullish trend, the Bitcoin boys.
That's one word with an I and a capital Z at the end, and you are listening to Wrestling Cheers.
Taking your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially back in Cleveland. This is Wrestling Cheers. We'd like to talk about things going on Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review of AIW's 216. I'm your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. Like I said, this is a review of AIW's 216. I've already introduced myself, and this week we got Stacy.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going good. AIW was back in Cleveland.
It sure was.
Do we want to get some of the complaints out of the way of parking?
Man, so here's the thing. Like, look, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
If they had never insinuated to AIW the parking was going to be free, I would have never even thought anything about it, because $10 for parking really isn't that bad in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, oh, okay, $10 for parking. I was just kind of surprised because I was like, oh man, it was supposed to be free. And you know, that's 100% on the venue. It is an AIW.
Yeah.
It's the venue being greedy, but that's music venues, man. Everything's a hustle. They all try to fucking take every penny they can where they can. So it's to be expected.
Yeah, that's something I thought about later, of like just $10, and I don't think there was a parking problem. Like, I don't know if there was like people that couldn't find parking.
Oh, I don't know. I was there early, so
I showed up right around the type of doors, and I got parking, because that was like one of the biggest problems with the Odeon. Like, yeah, there was that really good one across the street, but when that filled, because it wasn't just, you know, concert people or wrestling show people, it was, you know, people going to bars and whatever restaurants in that area. Like, people were coming and going all the time. And then other options were down the road and then behind the building.
Yeah, and that one across the street, if the Odeon ever does come back, is gone. So
yeah. So I was kind of upset or disappointed. I want to say like I was mad or anything, but you know, I was kind of disappointed at first, but like thinking about it, I'm like, $10. I think the biggest thing for me was it was cash only. And I don't always carry cash on me, so I had to make sure to stop at an ATM before I hit the venue.
Advice to the good folks at Temple Live: if you're gonna grift, be prepared to grift properly. Like cash only parking. Come on, now. Take a Venmo, take something, anything. Get a fucking Square reader and have the dude stand out there with it. He ain't doing a lot. He's hanging out, telling jokes to his buddy by the hut there, taking money. One of them can learn to man a fucking Square reader, something. Making things unnecessarily complicated there.
And I feel like compared to the Odeon, this venue is a lot easier to get to. Not saying the Odeon was hard, but like there was a lot more from getting to from the highway to the Odeon. This was a lot easier.
Yeah, the flats are tucked down in there, and you've got to go through like downtown like proper usually to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Where this is out like 30th Street or whatever. It's in and out pretty easy, man. And it's like right up the street from the Agora. Like you can sort of see the Agora from there. But yeah, it's cool. I'm glad to see the buildings getting used.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, that was a lot of people's complaint even before, you know, entering the show, was just like, we were told free parking. there wasn't. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, it sucked. But like you said, $10, like,
yeah, man, if I'm expecting to pay $10, I'm cool as cash. $10 fine by me. I was just the idea that the lady from Temple Live was like, "Oh, just blame me." Well, okay, we'll blame you. You were greedy and decided, "Hey, we booked this thing and now it's sold out, so that means a lot of people are going to need parking." Shit, we can make an extra couple $100. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't blame you, but I am going to call you out for it. Greedy fuckers.
Yep. So that part's out of the way.
Yeah.
I know you didn't do a meet and greet, correct? Like you didn't meet X-Pac.
No, I did not.
You saved those.
He didn't have the special needs dog with him.
Yeah. I wonder why he didn't bring it with him.
I guess he doesn't. I guess somebody told me they had talked to him or had heard about it. I'm not sure the details. I didn't hear it like firsthand. But apparently he hasn't, maybe it's Tom Dunn that told me this, but he hasn't traveled with the dog in like 4 years, which adds up because the last time I saw Sean Waltman anywhere would have been the first StarCast, like All In weekend.
Yeah.
And he still had the dog then, but that's like 2019. So
yeah,
it's like 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the dog did not look healthy then. So I am not surprised he doesn't drag the dog around.
Yeah, I did the meet and greet. One of the main things is I wanted to get X-Pac figure signed, and I had mentioned it last week on the show. I did get a heads up that they were going to be selling them, but I was trying to like figure out like, okay, well, it's going to cost this much signed, and I want to do a combo. Like, how do we work that out? Like, spoke with Pedro, got everything worked out, so that's what I ended up doing, getting a combo and having that figure signed. Because like I said, I was looking for it, and I swear about maybe 5 months ago that was like so easy to find at Targets, and now I went to a couple and didn't see him there at all, and I'm like, motherfuckers. But
I mean, I know I saw a few at Toy Hio.
Yeah, but was X-Pac announced at that point? I think he might have been.
I think so.
I think I might have thought like, I'm not going to buy it here. I'll go to Target and I'll be able to find it because that's where I had been seeing it. But, and also really at that point too, when it came to Toy Hio, like, I was at Danhausen's table for most of the show.
Right.
And I didn't get to do a great walk around before the show. So did a little one, but yeah, if it was there, I don't even remember. So I don't remember why I didn't pick it up, but
hey, you got it anyway.
Yeah. And I got it signed. So all in all, I was very much happy with that.
Yeah, I only heard good things about X-Pac. Everybody seemed to have a real good time that did the meet and greets with him. So, and it sounds like he was great backstage too.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's cool. Glad to hear it. Glad there's still some good dudes out there from that generation.
Yeah. I think with him too, he was one of those dudes that he sat there and talked with people.
Right.
Like obviously he wasn't taking like 5-minute conversations, but like, if you had any questions or things you want to tell him, he was fine with it. And then I think for everybody, he took like a Too Sweet picture and like a DX crotch chop picture. Cause it was like, instead of, asking for both, I'll give you both. Like he didn't even like warn you. He just
nice.
He did Too Sweet. Then he went into to the DX, which I had kind of thought about even prior to the show. I'm like, man, do I want to do a Too Sweet one or do I want to do an X? I was going to wear my NWO shirt, but I like DX a little more than NWO. But the fact they did both, I'm like, that's perfect. I didn't have to fucking ask him.
Yeah, I know. I had seen somebody say that he had watched a lot of the matches from the back. I know I saw him up in the balcony a couple of times, like trying to hide back a little bit so that everybody couldn't see that he was up there, but he was watching matches from up there too. Which, not every guest that comes in does that.
Yeah.
That's cool for the folks in the back to get that feedback from a guy like that too.
All right. That's pretty much a lot of that was only like one big meet and greet that they had.
Oh, you don't count your boy?
I mean, if you're there all the time, like, is it a big meet and greet?
Oh, I don't know. No. Oh, I think so. There was another guest there though that I think probably had a solid meet and greet.
Steph or Thatcher?
Thatcher.
I
mean, she may have too. She was with Cardona.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember seeing him when I was in the lobby before the show.
Maybe he didn't do a meet and greet. I mean, I guess that would kind of be on brand, but I assumed Thatcher would have a line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I've overassumed. Maybe I've overassumed things, but I don't know.
I will say
I didn't pay real close attention because I knew it wasn't anything I was doing.
the thing that I really enjoy about this venue is that there is a whole like separate space for gimmick tables, because that's one thing I've always I don't want to say complained about, but it's been something that if there's not enough room for gimmick tables and all that kind of stuff, or even just to get around, like I'm not a huge fan of it, basically. Because that's why like I love the volleyball caverns, because like the gimmick tables were like off to the side and there was so much room. It was great. And this is like a totally different space and plenty of room for everybody. And
yeah,
go ahead.
I think the only thing that might hurt the folks on the other side of the gimmick table is that it's not just there during the show. You know, a lot of times I see people go to the gimmick table like between matches or even at intermission. Like if you weren't going outside, you weren't going back downstairs probably during intermission, walking, unless you had to go down to the bathroom. But you know what I mean? It's just like it's a disconnected thing. So I think it could, and maybe it's definitely a better experience like pre-show and post-show, because it's a big area and like you said, it's away from where everything else was. But I think as far as just like total sales for the wrestlers, it might hurt them a little bit. Few less opportunities. And the stuff's not kind of sitting there to remind people, oh, hey, don't spend all your money on drinks. You wanted to buy that thing at that table, rather than get real drunk and then remember, oh shit, I wanted to buy that thing.
Yeah.
And now I don't have enough money because I got real drunk. I've been that guy before, so I don't.
Were gimmick tables open before even doors opened?
Yeah.
Which I think that's a big positive. Like I said, I got there, I think a little bit after doors open, so I wasn't 100% sure, but I remember I was seeing pictures of people with X-Pac like early. Oh yeah,
like before the doors opened, they announced that if you wanted to meet X-Pac, he had now started doing meet and greet. And I swear I heard the same announcement for Thatcher too. But yeah, so a lot of people before doors even were open had done their X-Pac meet and greet. Now that is a benefit for the meet and greets, where now at that place you can start a meet and greet long before the show starts. So you never end up with the situations like it was with Scott Hall or even Harley Race, where like they had to start the show. You know, like they were streaming on. I think for Scott Hall by that point it was a streaming issue. But you know, the show, especially now that it's streaming, show has to start. Like you can't even push it back. Like, oh, we'll push it back 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it's got to go when it goes. So having that separate and being able to get people to start going through that alleviates that whole fucking thing. So that's cool. And it gives you something to do before the show. The other thing for this show, it didn't matter, but a huge pro for that fucking place will be in the spring and summer if it's a day that's raining, or in the winter if it's cold. You're not stuck out in that shit. You can wait inside a place that is seems to be climate controlled as much as you can climate control a giant old building like that.
Yeah. I think even too with the space being separate for a big meet and greet, you could technically start the show as long as you know that wrestler isn't like somewhat involved in the beginning of the show, which they really are, because now they're in that separate space, so you don't see this like line of people wrapped around. I mean, granted, people are going to be missing part of the show, but the people that I feel like would be waiting in that line at that point might not be there for AIW per se.
And that's true too. The only thing that I think would get sketchy at some point would be, you know, you haven't technically had to check your ticket yet. The way it was set up before those merch tables. Everybody was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody just walked in off the street and like did a meet and greet and then dipped and didn't have a ticket. But like Pedro was set up past where like the tables were. So if you were going to run like that, I think you would probably, I mean, this is not problems for me to figure the fuck out. This ain't my gig. But like, I think they would have to figure out a way to make sure that everybody that was getting in had paid for a ticket for the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it certainly seems doable. It's in any account, it's a benefit to that building. Of the list, the short list of complaints about the building. There's a whole lot of cool stuff about that building. A whole lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
People were able to get drinks if they wanted to buy drinks before the doors even opened.
Yeah.
In that big hallway.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint kind of goes into just seating was cramped to a point of not necessarily like side by side, because me and you, we've had Akron shows where we're like shoulder to shoulder sitting next to each other, and we're
yes we have. Yes we have.
we're not really thin dudes. It was
every 18 inches, and there's more than 18 inches of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that wasn't the problem there. And I get how it happened. John Thorne explained it in the AIW Discord.
Yeah.
The other side, because when I went around, I ended up to get to my seat because I had that very first seat. I ended up going. There were people sitting in all the rows on my side. I ended up just walking around to the other side and cutting behind commentary, and then just going around the guardrails and in front of the entrance, and then around to my seat to get to where mine is. But like because there were those wooden chairs that I assumed were attached to the floor on the sides, but I guess they're not. They could be taken out, and in the future, I guess they will be. Those things made it so that, and with the hard cam there was no way around. And it was row of seats. So like, it was just a solid mass of people, and no one was willing to like, okay, everybody slide out so somebody can get into the other end of it. That shit wasn't happening. So it was too crammed over there. It was pretty cramped as far as seats go, but that's something that, there's growing pains and you learn with the building, right? Like,
yeah,
that was my only complaint about the room upstairs. I heard other complaints. Some of them I feel are probably valid. They didn't affect me, so they're not my gripes to air.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought the room's really fucking cool. The room looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
It sounds fucking cool. Like, the sound in there is incredible. You could tell that room was like acoustically designed. Fucking cool.
Yeah.
It looks cool. The views in there are fucking cool from the seats. I don't know what it was like as you went back further in the room, but up front, it looked really fucking cool. Yeah, I like the new venue.
My issue with the seating was the same as what you said, but my experience was by the time I got up to the show itself, like, it was probably right as Steve Guy was coming out or about to come out.
Oh, okay.
So like everybody was already standing up, and I'm like, shit, I have to get to my seat. And I ended up literally just walking on chairs. I didn't want to do it at first, but one person did it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it too. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And I did not leave at intermission. And that rarely happens, because normally I at least walk around, hit up some gimmick tables or something. This was like, nah, I'm good. And I just stayed in my seat the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unheard of for me to not go do shit at intermission, but I definitely didn't. Like, when I saw the difficulty there was in getting to that seat the first time, I was like, there's no chance. Because if the show's already started, I'm not like walking through the show to get back to my seat. You know what I mean? That's fucking rude. So yeah, I chilled at my seat. It was fine. One of the complaints I heard is that the bathroom's down a flight of steps. That's pretty fucking valid. That there's not a bathroom on the floor that we're on. It's wild.
I would hate to have been somebody there that had like some sort of emergency.
Yeah.
Because just imagine if it was you or just someone in your seat to go from where you were sitting downstairs to the restroom. Like,
this is not happening.
Yeah.
You're gonna bix your pants. It's gonna happen.
I was gonna say you're gonna be an AEW fan for the day. Just gonna be a pants shitter.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, down a flight of stairs to use the restrooms, a stretch. That's a little bit of a stretch. $9 16-ounce PBRs. Again, that's the venue. That's, and that's, AEG charges similar shit at the Agora. Live Nation charges similar shit at fucking House of Blues, and that's the places that this place, is up against in business. So they're charging what they would charge, if they have a fucking big show in the theater, the folks that are going to that's a normal, theater size band, venue price. So it's just not normal for wrestling, but that's steep.
Mm-hmm.
$9 for a 16-ounce PBR is steep.
I think that's all the complaints or issues that kind of people with like the venue itself. All in all, I agree with what you were saying of like, there's going to be some growing pains and everything. And
yeah,
I think there's a lot of pros that outweigh any con.
For sure. No, for one, it's a venue that there's access to. Yeah. That's in Cleveland. That seems to be a fucking problem. So it's got one mark in the win column for that. There's a lot of good with it, man. There's plenty of good. And again, there's going to be multiple opportunities to improve on what it was the first time. So,
but I
thought the Odeon wasn't laid out the way it ended up being laid out towards the end the first time they ran it,
Mm-hmm.
Takes time to figure a room out.
But I thought AIW was being ran out of Cleveland.
Dude, let's look. Those dudes will never say it, but I'll fucking say it. Other Cleveland dudes just love taking L's, like real publicly taking L's. And I don't get it at all. But good for them, man. Good for trying. Good for trying to talk shit and just being made look like dummies. Just a bunch of dummies.
Oh, the person I was talking about doesn't even live in Ohio anymore. And
hold on, which one?
Well, I don't know if we'll mention it later per se, but we can hint at it that his name was mentioned later in the show.
Oh, that dude? I wasn't even thinking about that fucking dude. I'm talking about little Addie Koger and fucking Richard Bag of Milk with their promotions. Specifically, little Addie ran that room to fucking 12 people.
I was referring to the comment that was made because AIW, isn't it a coincidence that, Turner's Hall closed and Mount Carmel sent them away, Cat Piss venue didn't allow us to run after 2 shows, and the Odeon, is it a coincidence? Ooh. Yeah, it's a coincidence. Really being ran out of Cleveland. Sure.
Yeah, no, I was not referencing Starchy. That was not
Starchy.
No, I was referencing the little shit talk Atticus Coger made about whatever the top promotion in Cleveland with quotation marks or whatever it was. Like they ran the UXWA arena to less people than UXWA ran the UXWA arena to. Stop it. Stop taking L's. Run in California. The 20 paid aren't gonna miss you that much. And Ricky's running in like a garage or something. I don't even know what that is. Good for them. Good for trying. You gotta try, right? But
yeah. Anyway.
Oh, AIW did it real well. 500 was it? Was it 500 people in there?
I thought was it set around or like a little over?
I don't know.
Nonetheless, 500.
Felt like a lot of people. Looked like a lot of people. Was a lot of people. It was loud. That was one of the loudest AIW shows in a while. Like that room is loud on its own, but like just the sound of people was audible the whole time.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
All right, let's get into the first match, the pre-show match. AIW Tag Team #1 contendership, or tag title #1 contendership match. We had Bulking Season versus H2V2 versus Money Shot versus Members Only. I did not see any of this match because, like I said, I showed up right around time doors open. Xbox line took a while. And by the time I got up to the actual show, it was showtime. So, Stacy, what was this match like?
Look at you snubbing Members Only again. Didn't even watch their match.
Yeah.
Shameful Summers.
Totally on purpose.
It was. I know it was. Had to be. Oh, that was good. I mean, it was a 4-way tag match, so it's, you know, at some point it kind of breaks down. But I felt like it was a real toss-up. This was another match that, like, the way the match was laid out itself and the setup to it of who was included really left it, like, wide open. Like, you could make a case for any of the teams having came out on top and getting a shot. But it was cool to see Members Only win and get that shot later.
Kind of wanted to see H2V2 win.
I think they're going to have plenty of opportunities in the future.
It's just kind of like what I mentioned on the preview of they haven't got a win yet. Imagine like they finally get a win and then they get a title shot like immediately.
I mean, that's funny. That's funny. But
what happened with Elijah Dean?
I don't know, man. That dude, I just saw him like take a move. I don't even remember what it was. And he turned around and I saw like a little bit of blood. And I was like, was that a light like shined off his face funny? Or was that blood? And then he looked back over again and I was like, oh, that was fucking blood. That's for sure blood. I don't know what happened to him. He got busted open though.
Like I said, I missed everything. And then all I knew was like after the show, I didn't see him. I only saw Zach Nystrom, but it didn't register per se. Then I'd seen pictures later in the night of him in the hospital. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed he was going to need stitches, like with the way he looked. Yeah, it didn't look good.
So, yeah, I totally missed out on all that. So, and it'll be members only, or was members only winning. Later in the night, they got a tag title match.
Sure did.
But after that, we started the actual pay-per-view, depending on Cage Match. Cage Match has, like, they classify this as a TV show.
As a TV show?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, it is like a show, an episode of AIW on a subscription service, so
but
I guess.
The last handful of shows ever since In the Mouth of Madness have been all categorized as pay-per-views. And then prior to that, all the everything that was on IWTV was marked TV shows.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know anything about the inner workings of Cage Match, but I guess I could see an argument for either way.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, we started the actual card and started with this one. Steph DeLander versus Jocelyn Navarro.
Yeah. Joss with another top indie talent coming in.
Mm-hmm.
She's gotten a lot of opportunities and it's paid off. Like you can see how improved Joss is from like I remember Joss before AIW, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just watching that transformation has been pretty fucking cool.
She's transformed in the ring and out of the ring. Like even like her social media game is a lot different from before.
Sure.
Just you could like she really evolved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I thought she did a fucking great job in this match. Truth be told, I quit watching NXT other than like when somebody's like, oh, hey, watch this clip of this shit that happened like long ago. I was unaware of her having ever been there. Like, was she on TV or was she just like there?
I didn't watch it either.
Okay.
Like I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched a full thing of NXT. It's been for me. It's been a very long time, like more than most people. But I think it was like last week on the preview, like I had to, like, I looked up her cage and I was like, oh, like how long has she been wrestling? Then I saw that she was in WWE, and then like I didn't even attempt to pronounce her name. I was like, nah, I'm gonna fuck that up. So
Yeah, I don't even know what her name was there. What was her name?
like I said, I'm not gonna attempt to say it. I'm gonna fuck it up.
It didn't work. Okay.
Come on, man. I have a lot of dumb moments, but that won't be one of them.
Had to try.
Yeah, but I don't think she was there that long, and I think she was part of one of those roster cuts where it was a lot of people that were, you know, towards the bottom. Yeah, like you're expendable. So
yeah, and she's Australian. I was unaware of her prior to NXT work. To me, everything that I've seen of hers, I've seen within like past 4 months, maybe. I would say. I don't know. I was blissfully unaware. She was good. She can wrestle. She could wrestle better than a lot of people I've seen come out of NXT getting cut. Like, you know, that weren't names prior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she started in 2017. And, she was on a Black Label Pro show in 2019.
Oh, that tells you how much I paid attention to Black Label Pro.
Yeah, I remember the show, like the graphic, but I couldn't tell you. It was Black Label Pro Adventures in Wrestling. Oh, it was a Mania Weekend show.
Oh, I was at that show.
Well, do you remember the YouTube title $1 million intergender battle royal? Yep, she was in it.
Yeah, vaguely. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, so I've seen her wrestle before. Yeah, so scrap all that. Oh, yeah, I saw her back in 2019 summer.
Yeah, so obviously she hasn't been over here a ton.
Yeah. Mikey Blanton clearly likes.
Very true. She was on did a show at the canceled Virginia company.
The canceled Virginia company?
Nova Pro.
Oh shit. That place.
She went by Facebook.
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know who that is. I saw her apparently. Not a clue. But anyways, Joss had a good match with her.
Yes. And right now, like, Steph is like a really hot name on the indies. Like,
seems to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like it was kind of, you know, Jocelyn getting that big spot and getting the win.
Yeah, so I don't know where Joss goes with this, other than I guess just like keep bringing on challengers, right? Like, because the champ can't defend. She's otherwise predisposed.
She did in my fantasy draft, and she lost to Jocelyn.
Yeah, I booked her in my fantasy draft too. She was still champ.
I kind of think like if the title's not coming back and there's not going to be a huge focus on the division of having like Girls Night Out, this is kind of the next best thing. You're getting somebody local to better themselves and go up against somebody who is established one way or another, whether it be somebody like Steph or Thunder Rosa or
Allison Kay.
I was trying to remember Lufisto, another big name.
Yeah, man, I don't know that having a girls' night out is have a show that's just going to lose gobs of money. I don't know if that's the answer, but Pam across the room just pointed out to me, I don't even know that there's enough girls on the indies. I mean, there are clearly there's enough girls on the, but I don't know if there are enough like high talent girls on the indies to do like a whole show and again and have it not be just like the biggest money loser ever, because the flights, like where people are going to be coming from, what people's rates are. From what I hear, rates for women's wrestlers are very high. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the answer. But I like what you described Joss doing on that show is just what Joss has been doing,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, just you have like a top indie name or a top available name come in, she wrestles them. Ooh, I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't say that Girls Night Out's coming back in the sense like we don't have the title and there's no Girls Night Out. Like this is.
Oh, you were saying since there's no Girls Night Out. I thought you were saying have a Girls Night Out, and I was like, wow, Summers, that's just that seems like a not thing that John would do.
Yeah, so since there is no title and no Girls Night Out to have that same division like there used to be, like this is like the next best thing. Though
yeah.
I wonder how Girls Night Out would do now, because if I'm correct, The last girls' night out was before, I think, all the streaming.
It was. I think I was at it. I only went to one, and I think it was that one. It was just like weird old pervert show.
Well, I'm going to say there's a lot of weird old perverts at home that can buy a pay-per-view stream if this was one of those type of things where you had to like actually just pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it would be cool. I guess the point that I was kind of leading towards was I think it would be cool. Not that she hasn't done a lot of it. She's done enough of it, but for Joss to do intergender stuff, like it doesn't have to be always bringing someone in for Joss, you know? Like
yeah,
that.
and she's dabbled into intergender in AIW like a little bit here and there. Like we had
that's always kind of been part of AIW, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she just had that pre-show match where that 6-man tag match.
Yeah. Oh, with members only. That's a great team. Her with members only is a great team. I had kind of forgot about that.
They had a name for their team too, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. Like it wasn't just members only and Jocelyn. There was insert their own collective name, which is interesting because that means that those 3 people actually put some thought into it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that would be fucking great. Run with that. I forgot how much that ruled. That was really fucking good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was Jocelyn Navarro getting the win via pinfall.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. Pretty Boy Smooth versus Shaw Mason. Got before the match, Pam putting on PB's chapstick. Shaw Mason giving a gold medal to a kid at ringside, and it was his very first AIW show.
Oh, that's cool.
Little kid, I got a like really good picture of her. Like he's got like this oh shit look on his face when he gets the medal put on him.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, PB gives Shaw Mason a boot to the head.
Yeah, Shaw wasn't ready. He was not ready for what PB was bringing, I guess.
Nope.
Dude, I do think it's real dope that Shaw does the giving out the medal thing to kids. Mm-hmm. I think that rules. Because, like, AIW has a reputation for having, like, little badass kids fucking saying horrible shit and throwing double birds at people. So you got to balance that out with, like, a wholesome thing for kids.
Here, before you say something inappropriate or give the double bird, here's a gold medal.
Yeah, exactly.
We were right across from the one kid that always flicking people off.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. It was fun to just watch him. Like, who's he rooting for in this one? Oh, he's rooting for Wes, because I remember that distinctly in the other match. Actually, I think this one he might have been rooting for Smooth.
Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't paying close attention to who the little kid was cheering for.
I just would happen to see it from time to time.
Watching the match,
literally right across the room. I could just my eye just a little bit just move over. Oh, okay. Or even like those moments where they were maybe not this match, but like on the other side of the ring. Like, yeah, just I don't know, something I just kind of noticed. And then
I don't know. You know what I noticed? PB's got Brian Carson with.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, we didn't talk about. I don't want to call it the elephant in the room, but just be like, when the fuck did this happen?
Man, you know shit's got desperate when you're with Brian Carson. That's a desperation move.
Is Brian Carson the kiss of death in AIW?
I don't know, man. He ain't the kiss of championships.
Because 2 people he was with before this, no longer in AIW. One doesn't even wrestle anymore. And I would say the one that doesn't wrestle anymore, it was kind of he was the kiss of death for some people too. At least one person.
Yeah, it's not a good rep. Not a good rep to have. That you might be the mark of the end. That's not a great sign.
Man, it's gonna suck when PB's back at this venue with only like 20 people.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Don't do PB like that. Come on.
So the last one was.
Yeah, hopefully, man, PB, if you're listening, I don't know. I was unaware. I hadn't put the pieces together about this Carson thing. I was just pointing out that usually it doesn't improve situations, but I was unaware of how much it ruins situations. You probably think about that.
Yeah, I think he would do a lot better of bringing back the guy he used to be with, and that is Gary the King Baller.
Oh, man. I don't know if that dude has a lot of time for wrestling.
He doesn't. But if he wants to show up every gauntlet for the gold, I'll be happy.
Yeah, it's always cool when he comes back to AIW. Yeah, I think he's busy though. Yeah, I don't know what PB. I don't know what the right move for him is. Clearly, he's trying anything.
Yep. And there was a lot of Brian Carson in this match, kind of giving PB some sort of advantage.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him.
No, sure didn't.
Shawn Mason got the pinfall win.
Yeah, Shawn Mason is racking up a lot of big wins.
You know who was not at the show?
Shawn Mason's sister.
Correct.
Yeah. I did not hear her, so I assumed she wasn't there.
I asked him after the show. She was in Maryland.
Oh.
Because I was kind of like, was she here and I just didn't hear her?
That's not possible.
Well, that or I was thinking, she waited too long to buy a ticket. Oh, guess what? Sold out. Can't come. But yeah, if she's in Maryland, that makes sense. But fun little thing about the result tweets for this match.
Okay.
People wouldn't notice. I'm not like Wrestling Cheers is a highly followed type thing. I ended up tweeting out this result twice, and the second one was literally during the next match, like well into the next match. It's because there was a picture of Shaw pinning PB, and there was kind of like a sweat stain towards the bottom of his tights. Didn't look like sweat. Oh
no!
I think remember we were talking about earlier about having a.
Oh no! Hold on, who shit their pants? Sorry. Who are you alleging shit themselves?
Shaw. But I don't believe he did. Shaw saw it, and he said, "Can you delete this?" And I was like, fine.
Well, yeah, if he shit himself, he doesn't want everybody to see it.
He says he didn't.
Hey, man, everybody shits themselves at some point.
But, yeah, I was given permission to tell the story on the podcast.
Man, he bixed himself during a match. Well, he got it out of the way early. It was only streamed. That's it.
So I don't know if anybody picked up on it at all. Like if they noticed it during the match. I saw it and I was like, it's got to be sweat because it was just like this darker spot. So I'm like, there's no way he shit himself. But yeah.
Oh, there's a way. One particular way.
First you say it, then you do it.
Well, it comes in one of those orders. Well, at least he got a win, right?
Yeah. And that ties it up between him and PB. I don't know if we'll get another rubber match with him or we'll move on to the next feud.
See who can pick up number 2.
Stop it. All right, let's move on to the next one. Filthy Tom Lawler versus Wes Barkley. Filthy Tom Lawler throwing everybody for a loop and coming out to a different theme.
Yeah, man. His music choices are bizarre. I love it.
Nothing beats when he came out to ICP. Still be my favorite.
Well, of course that's your favorite.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, ×2 and whatnot.
I feel like what we got with Wes is just him trying to kind of stand out a little bit more. Like he doesn't always have can't always have Josh with him.
No, he can't. Yeah, there's going to be times where that's just not possible. So,
and this
was a big test for us.
Oh yeah,
Tom's no joke.
What are your thoughts on this match?
Thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I did. That's going to be a common thread with every time you ask me what I thought of a match on this show. I thought it was really good. It was better than I expected it. Like way better.
Yeah.
Like Wes did a fucking fantastic, far beyond what I expected he would do.
Does Filthy have any bad matches?
Not that I can think of.
Because that was kind of my thought going into it. It's just like, well, how is Wes going to be with Filthy? You could say, and this is not without me looking at all of Wes's opponents, you would probably say like at least top 5 opponent for him.
Oh, for sure. This was a huge match for Wes. And for me, I think the thing was, Tom has a style that he tends to have his matches be in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily the way Wes usually wrestles. And so I didn't know how that pairing was going to really look. It really fucking good. Like this show never had like that down match.
Mm-hmm.
There was never that like, oh, well, let's get through this one. Like it was really good.
I wouldn't be surprised if AIW or Thorne would say that was kind of the point of this show. Like, hey, we're back in Cleveland. We're going to give you a great card and we're going to have some great stuff all throughout.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I got nothing else here, but Filthy Tom won by referee stoppage.
Yeah, Wes was out.
And after the match, Wes almost spit on me.
Oh,
it was really close.
Well, don't say that to him next time.
No, I didn't. That was a week because he was spitting from the ring.
Oh, gotcha.
He said after the show that he felt like he was going to throw up. And he was spitting.
Oh, you know what? I do remember, like, he spit something out in the ring, and it looked like blood.
Mm-hmm. And then he spit like one or two more times, and one of them was it hit the guardrail right in front of me at the bottom.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice that it didn't hit me.
That's a present for you.
Wes actually DM'd me and apologized. I was like, dude, it's okay. I'm like, it was close, but it's okay.
That's a humble man apologizing for gifts.
All right, let's move on to the next one. PME versus Josh Prohibition and Matt Cross, aka Euthanasia. And if PME wins, or if they won, J-Pro would not wrestle in AIW again. But if Euthanasia won, PME would face Euthanasia in a steel cage match at next month's AIW show in Akron.
Yeah, high stakes.
This was the match right for intermission, and rightfully so. This match was fun.
Yeah, so this match had my favorite moment of the night in it, for sure. Like, I don't know that I've laughed as hard at a wrestling show for good reasons in a long time. The match itself was great. Like, everything leading up to kind of the end of it was very good. It was exactly what I would have expected out of the people in the match. Mm-hmm. But man, that fucking finish, well, the first finish, fucking chef's kiss. Yeah, that was the best.
It was something that I didn't tweet about, because like in between that and the actual ending of the match, like it was short. And I was like, I'm not spending a lot of time tweeting this out. And like, hey, if you weren't watching, it sucks. Like, I'll give you the actual result. But yeah, let's get into this. And Papa Pepperoni,
Papa Pep,
coming out as a ref.
Yeah. Except he don't go here. Well,
I gotta say first, not only counting the pinfall for PME, but a really fast count for PME.
It was quick. A little quick.
Yeah.
The pace was a little quick. But he's not a seasoned ref, so he doesn't have his cadence. He hasn't had those, Jake Clemens, that's a professional. Papa Pep, he's still feeling it out.
So then Thorne comes out.
Yeah.
And kind of makes comment that PME couldn't afford Starchy. And they managed to get Papa Pepperoni, but he didn't work here. He's not a ref. So the match is going to be restarted with a real ref. And out comes Tom Dunn. And
he sure did.
As soon as he came out, I knew what we were seeing. And we saw, Tom Dunn get in the ring, tell Papa Pepperoni, gotta get out of the ring. Papa Pepperoni's like, nope, I'm staying on the ref. Tom Dunn's like, fuck this. Choke slams him. Dundertaker. So I knew that was coming as soon as he came out. I love it.
Papa Pep got up there too.
Yeah.
Fucking Papa Pep.
Oh, and even before all of that, you had Cardona come out and assist. You had Rip City come out and chase Cardona off.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the end of that. I'd laughed for like a solid 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. From the moment Papa Pep ran through the curtain to the moment he got choke slammed. I did not stop laughing. I loved it. So good.
But yeah, it was I just realized I had the wrong result here because I was typing too quick. I put Joshua Bishop in Philly. Wrong Josh.
Well, now that would be something.
I mean, he was in the ring.
Yeah, he was.
But it was Josh Prohibition pinning Philly for Euthanasia to pick up the win. And yep, PME versus Euthanasia in a steel cage match next month at AIW. Damn.
Yeah, that's how you do it, right? Hey, I want to wrestle you, but first I'm going to wrestle you to see if I can wrestle you.
In a steel cage.
Yeah.
And for those wondering, we did learn in the AIW Discord, Damn is not the rap show.
I didn't assume it was.
I did.
Yeah, he's wrong.
For the reason, for the reasons that I stated, that number one, is in the old rap show month, on top of it being a rap album. And then if I went one further, the first match that was potentially at the show and now was confirmed is steel cage match. I say it's an honest mistake, but I think Steve Guy did bring up a good point of saying that normally if Thorne names it after a rap album or a rap song, it's older. And I was like, yeah, good point.
Yeah, I just assumed it was just a play on Ron Simmons saying damn. I didn't assume it was the rap show.
I kind of thought it was both.
Clearly.
Yes. But then, like, I thought about it later. I'm like, would they have the rap show in Akron? Like, at the Tadmore?
I don't know. Maybe.
I just know how the Shriners are when shit gets crazy. And you have a whole show like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, is all these venues are pretty new, right? Well, I mean, the Shrine's not new, but, like, the Shrine has let some wild shit happen there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do the rap show at the Shrine. I think it'd be more likely to do it there than to do it at the fucking temple. Like, that's one thing that I noticed. I said, when I walked into that room, I looked down and I saw red carpet. And I was like, well, at least it'll soak in the blood. But, like, it's gonna, like, I don't know how Temple's gonna react to the first time there's, you know, heavy blood.
Mm-hmm.
And then the show had, like, no blood other than Elijah Dean busting his eye open.
Yeah.
Like, there was a little bit in, like, up in the hairline on Matt and Josh, but, like, not the way it's been lately. You know what I mean? It's just, there was very little blood on them. So I don't know if running the rap show up in that room would be a thing based on how little blood there was even on this show.
And then I think Cardona actually had some blood too. Like, kind of like his lip or his mouth.
Oh, good.
Where was the last rap show at?
The Odeon, probably.
That's what I'm trying to look up now. Oh, yeah. Gangster Rap made me do it. Okay. Steve Guy said they were normally after old, like more older albums and everything. Granted, the rap show was in June last year, was at the Odeon. Gangster Rap Made Me Do It is like maybe around 15 years old. I mean, old, but not like as old as like some of the other rap show titles, like Straight Outta Compton.
I don't know, man. Does it matter? Like, I don't know. It's not the rap show.
It is not. It is not.
Just saying.
All right. After that, went to intermission and we came back to this one. Members only getting that tag title shot against the Bitcoin Boys.
Woo!
If I'm correct too, because obviously I didn't see pre-show match, different gear from them.
Maybe, probably.
I followed on some pictures that I seen. It looked like they had more colorful gear. This one was a lot more white, which I think looked really good on them.
Yeah, that was probably different. I honestly am not sure. I couldn't say either way.
That's a small detail that I like to see from people. I don't think it's, mandatory, but if you have where you have more than one match in a night, like have different gear or potential of having more than one match. Like you would see some of that shit at J-Lit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's cool to have multiple sets of gear if you're going to wrestle multiple times in a night.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be cool. I think it depends on who it is. I think I don't know how many double shots he's pulled, but I don't really see like Tim Donst having another set of dirty clothes. Like I wore the other dirty clothes at the first match. Let me change to these dirty clothes.
I wore my old boots in that match. I got to wear my older boots in the next match.
Yeah. But yeah, for people who have like gear, like cool gear, yeah, multiple sets for working multiple times in a night, sure.
It's crazy. We used to see Tim Donst once a month and now once a year for Lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, he is not a regular anymore.
He's not really a regular wrestling anymore, period.
Yeah. I think he wrestles like maybe 2 or 3 places. So
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in their careers in AIW, past and future, we're going to see a lot of Bitcoin Boys versus members only. And that is not a complaint.
Yeah, they can run this match back as many times as they would like to.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Like this, there's going to be a good rivalry here, very similar to what we have with Bitcoin Boys and bulking season.
Yeah, I look forward to the point like a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, when they've ran it so many times it gets to that point that PME did with Colin and Cheech. But yeah, give me all those matches in between. I'll watch them. I'll watch those dudes go for like now until 2 absolutions from now.
Do you think there were more people rooting for Bitcoin in this or members only?
That's hard to call.
That's like kind of where I was. Yeah, it was very, very tough.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty even. If we're being real, I'd say it's pretty even. Maybe a little on members only side, just a little, but it's just a little.
And even then, it could swing either way type thing. Like there were times that I swear there was a lot more Bitcoin.
Maybe it's pretty close.
Any thoughts on this match?
No, other than it was great, and I'll watch it again and again and again. Keep doing it. You guys keep running that match. I will keep watching that match. It's very fucking good.
It was Bitcoin Boys getting the win via pinfall. Let's move on to the next one. Derek Dillinger versus Chase Oliver versus Alec Price versus Kaplan versus Joey Janela versus Gringo Loco for the AIW Intense title.
That's a lot of people.
And to go from the tag title match, which was good, to this, it kept the night going.
Yeah, that's the other thing with this show. So it was after the match after this that I had asked Pam what time it was, and the show had already been like 3 hours at that point, or it was just short of 3 hours at that point, and it didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
This show was like 3.5 hours, and it did not feel like that much time had happened. This show was paced great. This match was wild, as you would expect. Multiple points during this match where I was like, oh man, this seat's cool, but I feel like I'm probably going to get landed on. It was a danger spot.
Well, this is one of those matches that, like, it's hard to recap because just so much going on. And it's kind of why, like, sometimes intense titles or scramble matches used to kind of kick off AIW shows.
I'll tell you what, man, it's one of those things where, and I, like, since things have been on, like, IWTV before or with FITE now, I love being able to go back, like, the next day and watch matches like this back again to see the shit that I didn't see when I was there. You know, with like a singles match, you can watch the match back and there might be some stuff that, like, it's cool to see a different angle of, but you're watching something that you really saw all of. But when you get into things like this, you see things watching it back that you didn't even see when you were there in person. You can't watch two things at once.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't know really what else to say about this match.
I'll say this. This was another example where I said going into it, anybody that's in this match could realistically win. There was nobody in that match where it was like, oh, well, that person, their ability or whatever, like, probably wouldn't. This could have been anybody. And I think this helps establish, like Derek just defended that title against 5 people at once. And not just like any 5 people, like 5 people who were legitimately probably like in the top 5 challengers for that title. Big deal. I dig it. If it went back to the intense belt being defended that way every time, I wouldn't be against it. That's for sure. That match was fun.
And we're just almost 2 months after Join the Swarm, where Derek also defended up against Joey Janela, but Paul London and Wes Barkley. So basically saying Derek has had a lot of challenges, a lot of competitors, and he even in multi-man matches, he comes out on top. And it's not just against, random people.
Yeah, so how far into being champ is Derek at this point? Are we 6 months?
Longer, because you figure
longer than that.
Yeah, a little over. 6 months ago was September.
Okay, and he won in August.
Yeah, so we're at about 7.
Right, 7 months in, and I think it's safe to say at this point that he's already cemented his name in like the list of like the top intense champions of all time, for sure. If he gets this thing for another 6 months, with the way he's been running with it, he'll be the top intense champion, in my opinion.
I'm double checking reigns. Let's see.
He won't have the longest reign.
I'm just double checking. What really kind of messes it up a little bit? Like the absolute title was mixed in with it for a while.
For a long while.
Oh, but even then, Justice didn't have the longest intense title run. It's actually who I thought it was, and this is a match I would love to see. I just don't know if we'll see it. And Justice was only 5 days short of tying, so 6 days short of breaking it. Longest AIW intense title run was a Davey Vega, and Davey Vega was a dude who defended the title a lot, just the same way as Derek in a lot of like scramble matches and whatnot. I guess looking it up, he only had 2 outside of AIW, and they were at Alpha One, but a lot of multi-man matches.
So how long was he champ?
439 days.
So that would mean Derek would have to hold on to this title basically through another Hell on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Another 228 days.
Yeah, so basically through the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It seems very doable.
I mean, that's one of those, like, it's an older record, not super old. I mean, granted, it was June 2014 to September 2015.
Yeah, I think really, with the intense belt being separated from the absolute belt for really the first time in years, Derek has reestablished it as like that belt matters a lot.
Oh, I gotta correct something. That's not the longest title reign.
Oh,
I looked over somebody. There's probably a reason why I looked over them. They were intense champion for 469 days.
Oh, I think I know who it was.
He might have tried to say that he looked like Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that dude was intense champ for.
So if Derek can hold the title for 470 days, that'd be great. Minimum.
I mean, I don't know that that matters, but you know what I mean? I don't know. He has done a lot to reestablish that belt on.
Yeah. Especially with it being wrapped up with the absolute title for however long it was.
Years.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on this crazy ass scramble match?
No, just do more of them.
Mm-hmm.
For what that's worth. Do more of those.
Had Derek pinning Gringo Loco to retain the title, but then he was rubbing the win in Joey Janela's face.
Yeah, well, I think I don't think it's probably the last time we'll see Derek and Janela wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's more to that coming.
A part of me wants to kind of say that maybe Joey was the last great solo intense champion. I'm throwing out Justice. Bishop had a good run prior to Justice, but that Bishop and today's Bishop are different. When Joey had a really good run as champion, and it wasn't even like super long.
And Joey did have a good run. I think part of it was just, it came after Affleck. And it also had that wild ladder match with him and Don. Right?
Yes. Which I was actually a huge fan of that match. And then the match that Don lost it against Justice.
Yeah.
Like he really had, the run was only 119 days, but the bookends were fucking great.
Well, and so but that's kind of what I'm saying. Like that Janela reign was cool, but I think Derek's probably already kind of outdone that.
Yeah. That's why I see like the rivalry building between the two.
And I mean, you can't really judge things off that ladder match because that's one of those things that, like, if you get a match like that, congratulations,
Mm-hmm.
That's like in top matches I've ever seen in my life.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Dominic Garrini versus Timothy Thatcher.
That's ruled.
Yeah. I'm still going on record as saying like this is going to be like a really big year for Dom. It seems like he's getting a lot more of these type of matches in AIW and he's winning them.
Yeah. Nice change, right?
Mm-hmm.
This match fucking ruled. I loved it. It was paced really well. Like it built as the match went on. I just like these kind of matches. And Like once they started laying in hits, and so good. So good. It probably won't happen, but man, it'd be great to have Thatcher back. Like Thatcher on a J-Lit weekend or something.
Mm-hmm.
That would be. I'd watch that dude wrestle however many. He's so fucking good.
It's kind of a side note of what we were talking about earlier. We would figure that this is going to be the J-Lit venue.
You'd think, probably, at this point, right?
Yeah. Only reason why I think about it is like, hey, you kind of mentioned Thatcher being at J-Lit, and then I'm just picturing the type of crazy people you'll get to have at J-Lit.
Yeah. Yeah, man. If not, though, it was cool to get to be that close for a match. It was, man, very fucking cool. I don't know. Were you front row, Summers?
Yep. I was other side of where Paul Greer was.
Did you feel like we were like way closer than we usually are?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why in that scramble match, I was like, there were a couple of times where I was like, oh, if he goes off this direction, he's hitting me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not going to hit the other. He's going to hit me. I need.
And no one hit you.
No, not one person. But I did move. So
any more thoughts on this match?
Dom getting a win over Thatcher's fucking rad.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like you said, it seems like it's Dom's year. And if we're getting stuff like him versus Thatcher at this point in the year, man, I can't wait to see what Thorne lines up for him for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking just in between Apso and J-Lit.
Yeah.
Like if Dom's in J-Lit, who's his opening round opponent?
Yeah. I mean, there's a list of people that I would like to see, but it's an expensive list, and I'm a realist. You know, like I don't think anybody that's on that like, oh man, I don't see like, I mean maybe, but I don't see like a return of Zack Sabre Jr. to run that back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it'd be fucking cool. Or like fucking Will Ospreay or something. That's crazy. You know, like, that's like wild expensive. That's dumb shit that you can't have. You know, but
yeah, we'll see. Will Ospreay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. All right, let's move on to the main event. Isaiah Broner versus Matt Cardona versus Matthew Justice versus Joshua Bishop for the AIW Absolute Championship. One thing that I loved before the match was kind of that moment of Justice and Bishop looking at each other and then like looking around at the balconies.
Yeah. Teasing a thing that wasn't coming.
Yeah. But also it was like that Odeon spot was the first Odeon show, and here they are in a match together at the next Cleveland venue, the first show at it.
Right. With an even higher balcony.
Yeah. And more balconies.
Yeah. Not a lot of tables though. Not a lot of tables in that room. Oh.
Not a lot of room. A lot of room for tables.
Right. Yeah, I guess there were people. Throw them off the balcony into the people. Crowd surfing.
Just
no, but I think it's smart to tease that shit, right? Like that's because of course people are thinking it. So play it up. Fuck yeah. Going into this match, I was like, man, this was another one where like anybody could realistically win this thing. And boy, there were 3 outcomes that I was cool with.
I wonder what those are.
I couldn't imagine figuring. This was another one of those matches where like there's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
And at times you don't get to see everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And one of those things I didn't get to see was what happened to Bronner.
I'm not sure if it was one of those things that you could point out as easily, because I thought there was something wrong with potentially like his shoulder or something. Because when he did the double shoulder block to PME, who ended up coming out at one point in this match, it looked like he shook something off, like, oh, like that hurt.
Mm-hmm. So
I kind of thought that was it. Then hearing later it was potentially something else, I was like, all right, then it wasn't that. So I don't know if it's one of those things like something happened and then he just kind of like end up rolling out of the ring and just kind of like getting away. So it's like harder. I would have to go back and rewatch it and then figure out like, okay, we don't see him after this point. What happened? It definitely wasn't anything like, I think, obvious.
Yeah, by the time I realized it was anything serious, like, I'm usually I'm hip to like the steps that seem to happen whenever something actually bad happens. And it's like, Steve Guy's the first person that's usually there. Then it's, get Pedro. Then, Pedro's like, oh no, there's somebody, this actually would need medical attention.
Mm-hmm.
So you get Jeremy. And then when I saw Joss, I was like, oh fuck, is it bad? Like, is he dying? Oh shit. But fortunately not.
Yeah, I won't necessarily go into details, but it doesn't sound like it's as serious as it could have been. So that's kind of like the only news I'm happy to hear about. Or like, at least it's not something ultra serious.
Yeah.
Like, in the moment, it fucking felt like you said, like, oh shit, here's Steve, here's Pedro, here's Jeremy, now here's Joss. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I was waiting for a priest next. Like, oh, probably not good. Reading the man his rights. Last ones. Right here at ringside. Well, shit.
A lot of shit happened in this match, but I think it comes down to the end.
Well, it does. And I mean, so that also the one thing I wanted to point out though, with him not being there, I think it kind of changed some of the pace of the last part of the match from that point over. You know what I mean? Because there was a piece missing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, but it kind of felt that way at times. You know what I mean? Like, not in like a bad way, but just like you could tell that things were like kind of on the fly for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that ending, huh?
The one thing that I don't want to say we thought would never happen. I thought it was going to happen in like 2020, pre-pandemic happening.
Uh-huh.
And since it didn't happen then, I put it out of my mind. But Bill Alfonso turned on Justice.
Yeah, he did.
To help Cardona pin him and become the new AIW Absolute Champion.
Fucking fun.
Like, when everything was going on with Justice and Rip City into 2019, into 2020, I legitimately thought, like, oh, we're going to see Fonzie, like, join Rip City. Like, even just, can you imagine, like, Fonzie with Rip City? At that point in time, to me, it made sense.
That could have been cool.
But since it didn't happen, like I said, I just put it out of my brain.
Yeah.
And when I look and all of a sudden I see Fonzie throwing a chair at Justice, it's like, oh, fuck. And I've learned I need to quit joking about Cardona winning the Absolute title, because every time I do, he does.
No.
So
thanks, Summers.
I'm 2 for 2 on that one. Like I joked with Pam last week that Cardona was going to win. I mean, my pick was Bishop, but like end of the show, like made that little crack that Cardona's going to win. And he fucking won.
I heard that win made a grown man cry in that.
Was it Cardona?
Oh, I know. I heard of a different grown man. I'm not going to put anybody's actual personal business out there, but there are people emotionally invested. So I get it. I get making the move. If you bring a grown man to tears with the end of a wrestling match, you've done something.
Yeah. Cardona is a 2-time AIW Absolute Champion.
He is. You know, the nice thing about that is, if he's wrestling in the main event against anybody that I don't care about, I can leave early.
I hope every title match is against someone you really care about.
It probably will be. It probably will. But yeah, I don't know. I just think he's hokey. I don't even dislike him. Like, there are people, like I said, a man brought to tears, emotionally invested in shit and really hate him. And I think he's a shitty person. I think he's done really shitty, unethical, business things outside of wrestling. And I didn't like him for that shit. But as far as wrestling goes, he's fine in ring. He honestly has done more shit in ring than I would have expected an ex-WWE guy to do. He's been really good with that shit. I just think he's fucking hokey, man. I just don't get it. I think he's real fucking hokey. I think his promos are dumb and they're all canned and he just uses the same ones everywhere he goes. He doesn't do anything that's specific to fucking places. Sometimes it feels like he has a hard time remembering the name that goes along with promo. All the Deathmatch King shit, oh, cool, good for you. That doesn't exist here. There's deathmatch like once a year.
And he hasn't been on those shows.
Yeah, that's not a thing. That's just not a thing here. So don't bring gimmick from other places in. If you're gonna earn your fucking money, toy dork. I say that as a toy dork. But like, put some effort in. I don't know. I just think he's hokey. I do appreciate though that somebody taught him that like fucking hair dye comes in multiple colors, because that wasn't quite as like shoe polish black. You got that much money, man.
Maybe he was always going for the NWO Hogan.
Oh, maybe. Honestly, I hadn't considered that, and that genuinely could be a thing. I could see that dude thinking was fucking cool.
He does like Hogan.
I bet he does.
I don't think it's his number one guy though. I think that's between Warrior and Savage. I think maybe more Savage than anything.
Well, I hope, because the other one really ain't the best role model in or outside of wrestling.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Savage is the best of the three, but even then, like, he was a little sketchy too.
Yeah, it's wrestling. Especially then, everybody was sketchy.
Yeah. I just like the characters, not the people.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's certainly a crowd that comes with Cardona.
Mm-hmm.
That is not there otherwise. There was a dude from Pittsburgh that was waiting in line who the only reason that he knows about AIW is because of Cardona. And he comes up to the shows now because of Cardona.
The one that
only comes to the shows Cardona's on. So he's not a full convert.
The one that's friends with Pam?
Oh, I don't know that they're friends.
They know each other. I'm friends as in like Facebook friends type thing.
Yeah.
I know him too. So I know you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. But yeah, so it brings in other people, outside people. So I get it.
Yeah, I always hope those people stay. I mean, if you're coming from Pittsburgh, maybe that's a little much to come every month, but like if you're a Northeast Ohio fan, like come for Cardona, but stay for everybody else. Or there's one fan who just started like showing up recently, and like I technically like met her on Twitter years ago, and now she's realizing, or even like with the past like few years, that oh yeah, like all these people that I like all of a sudden they were in AIW, and like she lives in Cleveland.
Oh,
but I know like I think her first AIW show was the Danhausen show, and she'll come like so many shows since then too. But it's kind of like, hey, you know, you like all these people that you like really enjoy now, and like you like she just did that one house show where she met Orange Cassidy and Britt Baker, and it's like, yeah, you could have met Britt 100 times.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's a factual statement. You could have met Britt Baker dozens upon dozens of times.
So yeah, that's the show, and and the new AIW Absolute Champion.
Yeah, and I would say it's 100% worth a watch back on FITE. Like, I've watched it back. The production values for AIW have improved so much.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a little hiccup here or there, but like from those first few shows, like it's impressive how quickly people have kind of latched onto their roles and figured stuff out. Really cool.
I mean, it's kind of like what we were saying with the venue, where you know there was going to be some growing pains, and they're still working on stuff. Like shit will not be perfect,
right?
But I think as long as you have the right people in place, and then even like with the sound on the stream, I don't know if it was first picked up on social media, the Discord or wherever, but you know, when people were bitching about it, like I happen to look over and I see Chase Oliver right there commentary. So I'm knowing like, oh, he's got it. He's on it. So
yeah, his days look much more stressful now.
Mm-hmm. Talk about no pressure.
Yeah. Maybe a little, maybe just a tinge of pressure.
You give him the catchphrase, no pressure. And he goes, you know what? Hold my beer. I'm gonna get all the pressure.
Yeah.
In the ring, behind the curtain, just make it stressful as fuck.
But yeah, man, it's you know, they put that first Kent show up like a week ago or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it for a second, and like do yourself that favor. Go watch like just a random 10 minutes of that Kent show. And then watch the show from this past week.
Yeah.
just how far people have came in such a short time, doing a thing that they hadn't had to do previously for wrestling is impressive. It's really fucking impressive.
All right. Any last minute thoughts or final plugs before we go?
No, it was a good show, man. It was a hell of a way to kick off a new venue for AIW. And hopefully, things, figure themselves out over, the next show or two where, like, I think it's just going to be, trial and error like anything. You keep what works and you get rid of what doesn't and you figure out a different way. I'm confident that they'll figure it out for the couple of small things that could be improved. That's all.
No,
as far as plugs go, I have a podcast. You can listen to old episodes because no new episodes have came out since January. Super fantastic. It's about horror movies.
No April Fool's episode this year?
No. So I have way too many irons and way too many fires right now. And I did it to myself. But I had to put something on the back burner. And it's the podcast. There's going to be some new episodes. I even have one new episode recorded. I just have a specific time when I want to put it out. Hell, it might end up being the next episode. I hope I do something before then. But yeah, so that's a podcast. It exists. It's like a deep dive into the history of specific horror movies with a guest who likes that particular movie. You can get it on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere that you get your podcast from. It's probably, but yeah, it's probably not a new one for him.
Something I caught before recording today that Kevin Smith is close to kind of getting the rights back to Dogma.
Oh,
maybe not him directly, but there's a group that is that had been trying to purchase the rights. Like, I guess he offered $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
The Weinstein people, lawyers, because obviously he's in jail, turned it down. He got a group of people together, put their money together, and put up $1 million. Turned it down. And supposedly there's this like third option outside of like Kevin Smith that put their money together, and they're trying to. I don't know whether they're securing the rights for just Dogma or like a bunch of properties or whatever, but like supposedly they could be close to getting it back.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. I think the most likely way that happens, because Harvey owns it. He knows that Kevin can't do anything about it when with him owning it. Mm-hmm. He's in fucking prison, but he doesn't need money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so much money he can spend in prison.
Legal fees is the main thing of helping recoup that.
Yeah, but he also, like, I feel like Harvey Weinstein is a dude who probably holds a grudge. I don't know the guy, but he sure seems like a dude who would probably hold a grudge, right?
Yep.
And Kevin Smith has came out and just said, what he thinks of Harvey, which good for him. Mm-hmm. Harvey's a piece of shit. But I would imagine that if there's a sniff of anything having Kevin getting access to Dogma back, Harvey, I wouldn't think. It's going to have to be somebody like A24 comes in, or just some other company unrelated that's just like, hey, we're looking to pick up some stuff to put on Blu-ray to flip $1 and you're not using this. That's the situation where it's going to sell. And then if those folks get Kevin involved, cool. But that's the only way I could see Harvey letting that thing go. Mm-hmm. And he probably won't let it go until he fucking has, because he knows it opens some kind of door for Kevin to have access to a thing that he can't have.
Yeah.
That's my guess. And that's the way it's always been made out to sound like whenever it's been talked about by Kevin, it's being held for a reason point.
All right. You can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Hive, much like you can find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. And let's go over those places that you can listen to this show, where you can rate, review, and subscribe. That would be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. And in the show notes, there is a Linktree link to all of them. Check out our podcast friends such as Hiya Bussy, Super Fantastic Podcast, The IndieCast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, Game Marks Podcast, Powerbomb Jitsu, Pile Driver Podcast, Fully Posable, Positively Pro Wrestling, Indie Wrestling Guide, If You Catch My Grift, At Odds with Wrestling, Marks with Mikes, Juggalo Rewind, X Over, This Ends at Prom, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Danger Zone Video in Joliet, Tennessee, Heart of Gold, Ohio Toy Show, Time Capsule Toys, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, 20x20 Apparel, JCP Designs, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, unless you're Steph DeLander in NXT and we just don't know. Later.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers. And then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.